straight to questions then. Senator Faruqi.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. And I'm sure you won't be surprised to know that I have some questions about preprint publications. From what I can surmise, you applied the preprint ban to 32 DECRA and future fellowship applications after a single assessor queried the eligibility of those specific applications. And all those applications were in a single discipline, which was physics. Is that accurate?
Senator, I did miss the early part of your question, but I believe I understand you've asked whether there are 32 applications ruled ineligible for putting preprints in applications, and it was one assessor, and I think the answer is yes. Okay.
I mean, as far as I am concerned, this rule shouldn't have existed at all. Yeah, it's just a ridiculous rule. But given that it did, I am concerned about the fairness and the consistency of how this rule was applied. ARC has maintained that fairness dictates the preprint rule and that preprint rule applies to everyone. And yet in your answers to my previous questions, you admitted that you did not search any other applications for compliance with the preprint rule. So my question is it fair and consistent that applications from a single discipline were ruled ineligible, but those from other disciplines were not even checked for compliance with this rule?
Senator, so the process is that every application for ARC funding is scrutinised by a number of expert assessors as part of the peer review process. And any of those assessors can raise a question about eligibility, and when a question is raised, the ARC is obligated to investigate that. So in that sense, every application is seen by multiple assessors and anyone can raise an eligibility issue.
The single assessor who queried the eligibility would not have assessed applications from their own university according to the conflict of interest policy. So again, I ask the question, is it fair and consistent that physics applications from that university were not subject to the same rule as others?
Senator, so the process for looking at these applications is not yet extinguished. There is an appeals process that is going on even as we speak. So that is part of the fairness process as well. Having been deemed ineligible, applicants are able to appeal against that decision if they feel they've been unfairly treated by the ARC, and that process is in train.
I do know that, but I'm not there yet. I'm asking about the assessment of applications. So only a particular number of applications were assessed for this rule. I'm just asking you, does that seem fair and consistent to you?
So the fairness and consistency is that every application is seen by multiple assessors and any assessor can raise an issue about an application.
Once so many applications had been flagged as using preprints by a single assessor in a single discipline, why did you not search for similar instances in all other applications?
Senator, because we did not change the process that we use. As I say, any application could have had an eligibility issue. These were the ones that were raised. Multiple assessors of other applications did not raise this issue.
So don't you see an inconsistency in that? Some were treated unfairly just because someone raised an ineligibility issue about, I guess, a terrible eligibility criteria anyway. Does that not seem inconsistent? And will you do anything about that?
So, Senator, this is part of what I imagine cases for appeal will look at. And so we will hear back from the Appeals Committee, which is an independent group, on that very issue.